Hello and welcome back to Being Significant. I am Rohit and I welcome you all to this new series on learning Excel. So during my previous videos on R, like many people requested me if I could cover even Excel exercises and like how to perform certain operations in Excel. So that's what I'm going to cover in this series, and I hope this will be very useful for all of you. So to start this, this is all I'm going to cover in this entire series. But the scope of Excel is not limited just to these pointers which I have written over here, but it is much more. So in time, if I feel like there are more things which I should cover, I'll definitely cover them. And even if you want something that should be covered in this series, please comment and let me know, and I'll cover those. Uh, yeah, so the best way to learn any tool is to actually use it and start learning by using it from the very first time. So the very first thing which I'll tell you is Excel is nothing but it's a kind of data arrangement in which you can arrange your data in a certain way. In this case, it is always the tabular form of data. Like whenever you'll be using Excel, you'll be organizing your data in a tabular form. So what is a table? That is a question which should come to your mind. So anything very simply, like whenever you go for a grocery, you might make a list like certain item and what is the quantity that you want to buy of that particular kind. So that is something which is there, and like you certainly use a list or a table a lot of time in your life, and this is exactly how even Excel works. So data in Excel is arranged in the form of rows and columns, and so which I'll show you what exactly am I talking about. Uh, so like see, we just looked at our table, so and it is something like this. Okay, so the thing, and here we had those alphabets as A, B, which we looked at just now. So I'm telling you that data in Excel is arranged in the form of rows and columns. So whatever runs horizontally like this, these are called as my rows in the data. And like whatever runs vertically, this is all my column. So all of these are my columns which are running from top to bottom, and the ones which are running left to right are called as my rows. And this particular any rectangle, a single rectangle is called as a cell. So all of these individually are cells. When you'll combine them together, you'll get a spreadsheet, and which is like nothing but our entire table which we see in Excel. So this is the three things: rows, columns, and the third thing is cells. So this terminology is something which you should remember. So rows which are running left to right, columns vertically, and cell is a single cell, one object. Okay, so coming back over here, so right now these all are individual cells, and if I want to understand like what cell am I at right now, so the very nice way to understand any cell position is like you start from the column, you locate which column is that particular cell is located in, and then you track the row. So for example, if I'm over here, so my column is J and the row which I'm at is row number 8. So the position for this particular cell will be J8, which is something which is visible over here. So if I'll click on any of these cells, this will always give me the location of the cell which I'm currently at. So this is something which is pretty useful. Apart from this particular window is my formula window or formula panel, where like whatever data that will be there in any of the cell will be displayed over here. So in time you will also learn about formulas which will be applying to any of these cells. That formula will start appearing over here. Okay, and this particular panel above over here is something is called as a toolbar. So like the name is suggesting, it gives you a lot of tools to manipulate the data in a certain way. So in time, like in further episodes, we'll use some of the tools which are available in the toolbar. For now, like let's continue. Yeah, so these two things like which are over here are called as scrollers. So this one is horizontal scroller and this one is vertical scroller. So which allows us to move from top to bottom or left to right. So if your data is much larger, you'll have to at times like scroll the window to look at it. So okay, so apart from this, one more thing which I need to tell you is you can see there are multiple exercises down here, right? These all are called as tabs. Okay, so within my one spreadsheet, I can have multiple sheets, and these all are nothing but my sheets which are there. So if you want yourself, so these were not pre-existing, by the way. These are all something which I have created in this particular spreadsheet. So if you also want to create a newer sheet, what you can do, you can click on this plus button and it will create a blank sheet for you. You can give it a name, whatever you want to give, and you can fill in the data in on whichever way you wish to. But for now, I'll just delete it because that is something which is not required, and I'll come back to my exercise one. Okay, let's start by understanding how do we navigate through the data, as in like if I want to go from one cell to the another, or in a similar way from one place to another, how can I do it? So the simplest way is your mouse click. Like I have this mouse over here, it has a scroller which allows me to go up and down in the data. But apart from that, I can use the mouse to go from one place to other. So let's start with our first prompt. I want to move from B to K2. So by using mouse, I can click anywhere and I can directly reach to that particular cell. So that's there, but it is asking me to move from B2 to K2 without using the mouse. The very first thing which we'll do is first locate where B2 is. So like I told you, you locate the column first and then you locate the row. So B is my column and 2 is my row. So B2 is this cell. So, and you'll also see it is appearing over here. That means I'm at the correct particular cell. And it is asking me to move till K2, which is over here, without using the mouse. So right now I'm doing a left click on my mouse and then I'm reaching it here. It is asking me to move from B2 to K2 without using the mouse. So on a keyboard, there are arrow keys, which is like up arrow, down arrow, right arrow, and left arrow. So right now I'm at position B2. If I want to move to K2, what I'll do, I'll click on right arrow like this, and I can reach to my K2. So the button clicks which I'm doing right now on my keyboard will be appearing on the center part of my screen below, and you can understand like what buttons am I clicking on. Okay, so yeah, so to come back from K2 to B2, I press the left arrow key. And similar way, if I want to go from top to bottom, I'll press like down arrow key, and from bottom to top, up arrow key. So these arrow keys are actually really helpful in navigating the data without using the mouse. Okay, let's say we want to now select the data from B2 to D14. That means B2 is this one and my D14 is this one. So this entire data I need to select. So right now, how did I select this? I used my mouse and I kept clicking on my keep holding the left button on my mouse, and I dragged it down till D14. So that's how I've selected it. But it is asking me to not use the mouse. So this is one way which I've told you, using the mouse. It is asking me to not use the mouse this time and then select the data. Okay, so there is one key which is the shift key on your keyboard. Just locate it, and if you hold it and use the arrow key to first reach till D, and then down arrow key to reach till row number 40. So this way you will select that data entirely. Okay, this is the second way of doing it. But let's say I would have had like a lot of data and not just this much, then it would have been very tedious for me to keep clicking on down arrow and reach to that last particular column. So so this third way of doing the same thing. But before that, I would request you to try holding the control button and do a right arrow click and try to understand what is happening. So what I'm doing, I'm holding the control key and I'm using my arrow keys, left and right one, to navigate through the data, and even up and down. Just try to intuitively understand like what is happening. So if you'll understand the way my data is arranged right now, I have a blank over here, I have a blank over here, and then I have blanks here and I have blanks here. Okay, so when I'm pressing control by being at B2 at this position and pressing the right arrow key, it is directly taking me to the last data point before it is encountering a blank. I'll repeat this. So when I'm at B2, let's say, and I kept holding control and clicked on right arrow key, it is taking me to the last data cell before encountering the blank. So here was the blank. So just before it, wherever the data was written, so it is taking me to that last part. Okay, so if let's say I'm at A, and now I'm pressing control and right arrow key, it is taking me to B2 and not till D2. Why? Because this was blank, and the first time it encountered data was at B2, and if I'll do it now it will directly take me to D2. So control does what? It jumps the data cells to the last data point before encountering the space. Okay, so just think about it intuitively. Now if I want to select this entire thing from B2 to D14, can I use the combination of shift and control? Shift does what? It selects the data for me, and control does what? It jumps the data from wherever it is encountering or at right at it to the last data point before encountering the space or blank. Okay, so what I'll do, if I'll keep holding control and shift together, and then if I'll do the arrow click. So I first did the right or arrow key click. So it did what? It selected that entire part wherever till whatever point the data was. And doing the same thing, if I'll do a down arrow now by keep holding control and shift keys, it will select this entire data. So this is how it will select this entire data. So I've told you 3 ways: first using mouse, then using just shift key and using the arrows, and then keep clicking on those. And the third way, which I told you, is by using the combination of control and shift and selecting the data. Okay, so our 2 things are done. Let's look at this third prompt. Select the cells from B2 to K19. Where is my 19? Here. Okay, without using the mouse. Okay, so let's say I'll click over here first, and I'm at B2. What I can do now, you know how can I do it? I can just do a control shift right arrow till the time I'm reaching K2, and then down arrow to select it entirely, then further down arrow, and one more time. So now you will see I started from my B2, and this is my K column, and this last particular cell is what? K19. So this is how I can select this entire thing altogether. Okay, so likewise you can practice more examples, but I'll tell you a few more things over here apart from navigating through the data. Let's say I want to copy certain values. Let's say I want to copy all of these from F2 till G14 and paste it over here somewhere. Okay, so let's say, so first thing would be to select this, and then the second step would be to copy it, and the third step would be to paste it somewhere. Okay, so the very first step is to copy, select it. So what I'll do a control shift right arrow down arrow. So I've selected the required data which I want to copy. So there's a shortcut on your keyboard, which is my step 2, which I'm going towards, which is copying the data. So if you'll keep holding control and press the C button, it will copy those particular data sets. So how will you identify whether it has copied or not? You will start seeing this hovering effect over the data which you have copied. Now go to any blank cells and you paste your data. So please remember, I'm telling you to go to any blank cell. So let's say this is my blank cell, and I can paste my data. Okay, and this way it will copy whatever it has copied from above. It has exactly pasted the same thing. And let's say like this is something accidentally I've done and I do not want this to be there, then I can undo whatever the previous step which I've done. So to undo this thing, what I'll do a control Z, control plus Z. So it will undo whatever the last operation which I did. Okay, and let's say now I feel like no, whatever copy pasting I did was actually right, but I undo the whatever operation which I did, and later on I think no, that was correct. So to bring it back, what I can do, control plus Y, which will redo my operation. Okay, so for now I'll just go back to this stage. One thing to remember, I asked you to go to an empty cell and then paste the data. You can say like, this is also a blank cell. Can I paste my data over here? The answer is no. But why no? Because you'll observe my data has 2 columns in it, right? Dimensionally, it has 2 columns. And if I'm over here, what it will do, it has one column to fill in, like over here, so it will fill this all these empty cells. But the point is, this one is non-empty. That means what it will do, it will override this data with whatever data I have over here, and whatever your data was existing over here will be gone. So let's say I'll try it. I'll do a control V over here. So it has overwritten the data, whatever was pre-existing. Okay. So this is something you should keep in mind. To whatever extent your data selecting, you should have at least those many empty cells in your sheet. Okay, so this was about copying and pasting. There's one more thing. Let's say I want to move this entire data from here to this L part. What I can do, there's something called cut. So we have learned about copying, we have learned about pasting. There's something called cut. So I'll select this, if I want to select this column entirely to the very last row possible, what I can do, I can just click on this alphabet. So clicking on any of these alphabets will select that entire column to the last possible row. Okay, so let's say I want to shift this entire column from here to this L column. So what I can do, I can select by clicking on K, do a control plus X on your keyboard, control and X, it will cut that entire row. And let's say I'll go over here and I'll do a control V. So it has shifted my data from column K to column L. Okay, so these were the basic things which you can do, navigate through your entire sheet and perform in your Excel. Please do these exercises, repeat it for yourself. So I've uploaded this file and given the link in the description. Please download this and try to, work through this sheet. All right, see you in the next video.